Hello, everybody, and welcome to Self-Directed IRA Saturday. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Zach Wilson. I'm an IRA specialist here at Quest Trust Company. So before we get started, got to give the disclaimer, right? Everything that you're about to see is for your education purposes only. We want to provide as much education as we can to both our clients and investors to be sure that you're making the most informed decisions that you can. That being said, Quest does not offer any tax, legal, or investment advice. All right, so a little bit about us. We are the largest self-directed IRA custodian in the state of Texas, with about 20,000 active investors across the country, holding about $2 billion in assets under administration. We have about over 100 employees, 34 of which are certified IRA services professionals. All right. And as it stands currently, we have about $400 million in undirected cash. Now, what this undirected cash represents is opportunity. Right? Whether you're a current Quest client who's part of that pool, who's looking to partner with other IRAs, or you're an investor looking to borrow funds for a deal, or maybe you're a syndicator looking to raise funds, this pool of undirected cash represents the opportunity for you to make those deals, right? But before you make any deal, whether it be inside your IRA or outside of it, first step is always educate yourself, right? You always want to be sure you know the ins and outs of the deal that you're looking to pursue. Right? If you Google us, check out our YouTube, our Facebook, we have tons of education, right? All ranging from basics of a self-directed IRA all the way to investing in your first multifamily deal. Right? All of that can be found for free to you, right? But once you get educated, you feel comfortable with the deal. Next step, you got a network, right? And thankfully now we are bringing back our self-directed IRA socials. Right, it's going to be going on in Houston, Austin, and Dallas on the first, second, and third Tuesday of every month. Now, this is where you're going to really get to put in the legwork, right? You get to meet investors. You get to build that network so that you can really start pursuing the deals that you want to, both inside and outside of your IRA. Outside of the socials, we also have events like the Major League Investing, right? This is where we're going to show the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of investing. Right, you get to see from all different perspectives. We'll have multiple speakers there. We're going to have this in Houston, Austin, and Dallas on March 3rd, 10th, and 17th, respectively. All right, and if you're a realtor, come check out our free online 3-hour online CE course for realtors. Right, the instructor is going to be Anne Marie, completely free to you. If you're a realtor, it's at 10 a.m. To 1 p.m. on February 10th. Now, the biggest event we're finally bringing it back is the Quest Expo. Guys, this is an absolute must attend. We will have speakers from across the country covering a wide range of topics. All right. We're going to cover everything from how to take advantage of private money within your IRA all the way to investing into cryptocurrency within your IRA. Right. This is going to be the greatest value that we as a company can offer you as our clients and as our investors. Right. It's going to be in Houston, September 23rd to 25th. Guys, I highly advise that you go. This is going to be, like I said, the best value that we can offer you. All right. If you've got any more questions, my name is Zachary Wilson. Shoot me an email. Give us a call. Ask to talk to an IRA specialist. We'd be happy to help you. All right. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right. So I'm excited to introduce you to our speaker today. He's coming all the way from North Carolina. Now, when we first met him, he was working with another IRA custodian. I'm not going to mention their name, but that's when he realized the benefit that Quest was able to provide. Right. Since then, he's been able to help hundreds, if not thousands of people get started in real estate, investing both as the borrower and on the lending side. So I'm excited to announce Jay Connor is going to be speaking with us today. Jay, you there?
I'm here, Zach. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Fantastic. I'm so excited to be here and looking forward to talking about my favorite subject, and that's private money.
Yes, sir. Well, the floor is all yours. Everybody, share the chat. Take advantage of the chat. We'd be happy to answer any questions for you, Jay. Take it away.
All right. I appreciate it, Zach. And I want to encourage everybody here that's attending to be sure, as Zach just said, and take advantage of the chat. We're going to have plenty of time for questions for me to answer your questions. As I go through this education segment right now, which is probably only going to take me about 40 or 45 minutes to go through, we're going to have plenty of time to answer your questions. So when I say something that may not make total sense to you or you want to drill down on it a little bit, Again, please go ahead and type your questions in the chat. So yes, I'm Jay Connor, known as the Private Money Authority, coming to you live from here in Morehead City, North Carolina. And this presentation that I've put together for you today, as you see, is titled How to Raise Private Money Without Asking for Money. You know, my wife, Carol Joy, and I, we've got over 40 private lenders that are loaning money to us, either from their investment capital or from their self-directed IRA accounts at Quest. All of our private lenders that are investing with us, that are loaning money to us from their retirement accounts, have their accounts at Quest. And yes, as Zach just mentioned, a few years ago, myself and all of our private lenders that are using self-directed IRAs, retirement monies, moved all of their accounts to Quest. And you being a client, if you're a client of Quest, you know from experience, and I can speak from experience from all my private lenders, Quest has the hands down best customer service of any self-directed IRA company on the planet. I get my deals funded through my private lenders that have their accounts at Quest in 3 days. And it's just phenomenal, this relationship that we have. So this presentation, so you understand where I'm coming from, this presentation is to share with you my experience of using private money from the perspective, from the standpoint of the borrower. Okay, so if you are interested in learning and being interested in wanting to learn how to raise private money, either from just people's investment capital or to educate them, people that you have a relationship with, on how they can use their retirement funds to invest in real estate, but very passively, just sit back and collect checks, then this presentation is for you. This presentation is all about attracting funding for real estate deals. So even if you want to be a passive investor yourself and just loan money out, this education is going to be valuable for you as well, because you can see and understand from the perspective where we as the borrower are coming from. So just a couple of questions as we get started. Have you ever imagined what it would be like to live in the home of your dreams with no mortgage payment, or just go to the luxury car dealership and leave with no payment, or travel when you want to, or work when you want to? The reason I ask you those questions is because it's this type of lifestyle and freedom that Carol Joy and I have been able to come to enjoy since the spring of 2009. We've been using private money for our deals. And, you know, we're in a small area. We only do 2 to 3 deals a month, but our average profit is over $70,000 per single family house that we do. We flip a lot of them. And with the average profits over 70,000 and doing 2 to 3 deals a month, then that math, you know, sort of works out. And so the story, or the moral to that lesson, is you don't have to be in a big market to make big money. Our total target market is only 40,000 people, but we dominate the market with our marketing strategies on looking every day consistently for motivated sellers. So in this presentation, you're going to learn how to make more money fast and faster than any other way that I know how. I'm also going to cover briefly, since this is sort of like a 30,000 foot, you know, overview from the sky. I'm going to show you how to never miss out on a deal due to not having a lack of money. I teach my students and I practice myself. The money comes first. The money comes first. There's always going to be deals. So we want to focus on having the private money lined up, ready to fund our deals, so that when we go to negotiate on deals and make offers, we've got plenty of funding at hand to do it. Secondly, I'm going to go over here the exact steps needed to attract funding for your deals. So you see, there's no chasing, there's no begging, there's no selling. We always have the money lined up first. And I'm going to share with you my step-by-step system that I've developed for attracting this private money. I'm also going to mention during this presentation 3 different funding sources that you can get when it comes to private money. I'm also going to mention this presentation how it is that we are able to locate, and you can too, over 12,000 private money lenders' contact information and the deals that they are doing every month. So you can reach out to existing private lenders and network with them as well to fund your deals. And I'm also going to show you the steps that I used and I still use to this day, how I raised over $2 million in private money in less than 90 days when I was cut off from the banks. I'm also going to share with you how to buy properties without using any of your own money. I never, when it comes to real estate deals, I never bring any of my own money to the closing table. In fact, I always get a big check. I pick up a big check every time that I fund a deal and purchase. I mean, who wants to get paid to buy properties? And people say, well, Jay, how in the world do you do that? It's real simple. I just always borrow more than I need to buy the property. If there is a rehab involved, and by the way, we're not going to use private money just for the ugly house business. We're not going to use private money just for rehabbing. It's whenever the seller of a property requires all the cash, and which that's the majority of them, that's when we're going to use the private money. I'm also going to show you in this presentation how I'm able to collect 3 big checks on every transaction that I do. And again, how to get all your rehab money up front if you are rehabbing. Again, you're not going to use private money just for the rehab business. You'll use private money even for what we call the pretty house business. You may be, negotiating with a seller of a house or a property, and it doesn't need any major rehab. It doesn't need any major repair. But my statistics show on these off-market houses, only 13%. That's right, only 13% of off-market sellers will sell to me on what we call terms. Only 13% of them will sell to me on subject to the existing note or with seller financing or anything creative like that. What do the other 87% require? That's right, all the cash. So even if it's a pretty house and it doesn't need much rehab, or if it's a full rehab, whenever the seller requires all the funding, we're going to use private money. So how in the world is it that I got involved in private money? Well, I can tell you, I just didn't wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to go raise some private money. No, it didn't work like that. So here's what happened. I remember it just like yesterday. It was in January 2009. January 2009. I was sitting at my desk and I had 2 houses under contract to purchase. Both of them had rehab involved. And I had been using one of the local banks here in Morehead City to fund our deals. Carol Joy and I started in 2003. We've been full-time investing in single-family houses since 2003. And I will mention this as an aside. If you are interested in also doing small apartments, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, that type of thing, this private money is the same money as using it for single family houses. We just structure the deals differently. So anyway, I had 2 single family houses under contract to purchase. These 2 deals represented over $100,000 in profit on these 2 houses. So I called up my local banker. I had had this conversation with him many, many times over the past 6 years, from 2003 to 2009. Got him on the phone. We said hello. We had our pleasantries. And I told him about the deals, where they were located, the after repaired value, the funding required, and I wanted to close within 30 days. Well, my banker went quiet on me on the other end of the phone, which is never a good sign. Anyway, I learned very quickly in that conversation that I had lost my line of credit. It had been shut down with no notice. And listen, we had never been late on payments. We had 6 years of a beautiful relationship with our banker. Well, I learned during that conversation that not only myself, but the entire world was being shut down due to the global financial crisis. So I hung up the phone with no way to fund these 2 deals. And so I called up my friend Jeff, who lived in Greensboro, North Carolina at the time. He was a fellow real estate investor. I told him what had happened, and Jeff said, well, welcome to the club, Jay. I lost my lines of credit last week. I said, well, what are we going to do? Well, Jeff mentioned to me this concept called private money. I had never heard of private money, didn't know what private money was, but I learned all about it very, very quickly. I put my private money program on steroids, and I started spreading the word. And bear in mind, I want you to remember, not then, not now, did I ask anybody for money. People say, Jay, how in the world did you raise over $2 million in less than 90 days and you didn't ask anybody for money? It's real simple, and here's the secret. I put on my teacher hat. I put on my teacher hat. I started educating people about what private money is and what private money, how it works, and et cetera, and how you can use investment capital, just liquid capital, or you can use retirement funds. And the money started chasing me. So I put my private lending program together and I became a teacher of private money. I'm going to show you how that works here more in a second. So because I've got a limited time with you here in this presentation today, I want to get you started with all the information that you need. Folks, I have just finished writing. You're going to be one of the first to get it. It's going to give you everything that you need to get started in this world of private money. It's called 7 Reasons Why Private Money Will Skyrocket Your Real Estate Business and Help You Build Incredible Wealth. This is a jam-packed, actionable guide that you can download right now in a separate screen while I'm talking, or you can do it right after the presentation. You can go to www.jayconner.com. I've got it right there at the bottom of the PowerPoint. jayconner.com/money guide. jayconner.com/money guide. And it'll get you started in this world of private money, doing it exactly the way I do it. Here's some things, some highlights that you'll learn. First of all, you're going to learn why private money is the fastest way to get to your first real estate deal or your next real estate deal. Well, how in the world does that work? As I just mentioned, there's nothing in the multiple listing service. There's no inventory to speak of. So the odds are you're not going to find any deals in the multiple listing service. So you're going to find your deals on off-market deals for sale by owners. Well, here's the deal. When you're talking to those people or somebody on your team is talking to them, if only 13% will sell to you on terms creatively, you got to have all the money. Or when you've got the private money lined up, ready to fund your deals, you're going to be more confident. You're going to make more offers. You're going to get more offers accepted. Also in this money guide, I reveal the secret that guarantees you picking up a big check on every deal that you close. That word says lose, that should say close, on every deal that you close. All right. So you're going to get a big check every time that you buy. Also, this guide goes into detail as to how you never pay any origination fees, no points, no extension fees, and you don't pay the high interest rates that are typical of traditional lenders, such as hard money lenders that suck up your profit margin. And by the way, I want to go ahead and say, in this world of private money, I'm not talking about hard money. Now, I've got some very good friends that are in the world of hard money, in the hard money lending space. But in this world that I'm talking about, you're actually doing business with the individuals that are loaning the money. In this money guide that you can download absolutely free, you never have to worry about your credit score or any kind of application process to invest in real estate. In fact, in this world of private money, you are already approved. There is no application process. You're also going to learn in this guide how to create a life of wealth that allows you to be a blessing to the people and communities around you. Why that is so important to me and Carol Joy is that we are all about making a difference. And I believe you are too. I think birds of the same feather flock together. I don't think we would be hanging out together today during this presentation unless we had the same core values. And when it comes to making a difference, it's not all about the money. Yes, the money allows us the freedom and the lifestyle that lends itself for serving other people, but our main impact is wanting to make a difference, and it's the private money that allows us to do that. So again, be sure and make a note of this download website URL that we put together just for you, jayconner, jayconner.com/money guide. Download that, and that'll really get you on the fast track to private money. Now, who is a private lender? Well, as I mentioned, A private lender is simply an individual, a human being just like you and me, that loans you money from either their investment capital or their retirement funds. Private lending is a one-on-one transaction with no middle person, no broker involved in the middle. So a private lender is not a JV partner, a hard money lender, or banks or other financial institutions. So let me speak to this JV partner for a second. You know, the old business model is a lender will put up the money, and then we, the borrower, will do the work, and then we'll share in the profits. That's the old business model. That's JV partnership. And the way that I do the business, it's not a JV partnership. The private lender does not own the property. The private lender acts in the same capacity as a bank. So it's your entity, your land trust, your LLC, whatever entity that you're investing in properties that owns the property. And then the private lender acts in the same capacity as a bank and gets the same protection as a regular bank would. And I'm going to go over those documents with you. And as I mentioned, not a hard money lender, not a hard money broker, but you're doing business directly with the private lenders. So not banks, not financial institutions, one-on-one transaction between you and the private lenders. Now, who does this program work for? As I mentioned, this private money works for single family houses and it works for commercial, right? It works for small apartments, you know. In fact, you know, it's the same private money that are used for large projects. But in that case, you'd be raising money for a fund or a syndication. In this world that I'm talking about, we're talking about every deal stands on its own. So you have a private lender or maybe more than one private lender that are funding a property. It's their money that is funding that particular property. And it's that property that you're purchasing that is collateralizing their note and protecting their loan to you. So my program and the money guide that I mentioned that you can download, this guide focuses actually on doing business in the single family house arena, but again, it works for the others as well. As I mentioned, this is not about raising money for a fund. Every deal stands on its own. You got one property with one or more private lenders that are funding that deal. And then each lender's loan to you or note is secured by that property with their own mortgage or deed of trust, depending on the state that the property is located in. Now, there's three places where you can get private money. And I mentioned this in the introduction. So the three categories of getting private money are A, your existing warm market. And we'll talk about what that is. Your expanded warm market, and then existing private lenders. Okay, let's start with number one, your existing warm market. Your existing warm market are people that you already have some kind of relationship with. They are either contacts in your cell phone, your email contact list, your Facebook friends, LinkedIn connections, any kind of social networks, the church that you go to, the Rotary Club you're a member of, you're in the Chamber of Commerce, Business Networking International, any of those social groups, your HOA, if you live in an HOA community, you're in that group. Your Facebook groups, all kinds of Facebook groups, meetup groups. So any kind of social connections. And of course, that's a very, very long list. And I'm going to drill down for you here in just a moment how to network with those lists that you are already a part of. Secondly is what we call your new expanded warm market. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes my students will say to me, they'll say, well, Jay, my people are broke. My warm market doesn't have any money. Well, first of all, I don't believe them. But secondly, whether you've got a large network currently or not, I always say it's a good idea to expand your warm market. Well, my money guide that you can download at jconnor.com/money guide, that goes into the conversation of how you expand your warm market and actually grow your network and your connections. And then existing private lenders. Those are private lenders that are already loaning money out to other real estate investors. Well, of course, a great place to network with those are at the Quest networking events that Zach talked about here at the beginning of this presentation. So you want to take advantage of that. Last statistic I heard, in fact, I think it was Nathan Long last year doing a presentation. I think Nathan said about 70% of Quest account holders are looking to loan money out on real estate deals. So there you go. You've already got a built-in, beautiful, wonderful network right here at Quest. I have also put together, for contacting and locating existing private lenders, what we call the private lender data feed. The private lender data feed. We update it every month. All of my subscribers have access to it. And we put through public record every private lender deal that's closed in the nation in the data feed. And so if you're interested in getting access to that, again, the money guide that you download at jconner.com/money guide will give you instructions on how to get access to that private lender data feed. There's a long list of reasons why I love private money, and here's a few of them. No credit check. Your credit score has got nothing to do with how much private money you can get, because the private lenders are loaning it out because this is a collateralized loan. So your credit score has got nothing to do with how much private money you can get. Carol, Joe, and I at any given time have about $7 to $8 million employed out on the street for our deals. So again, doesn't matter what my credit score is, doesn't matter what your credit score is, you can get as much as you want. No income verification. You don't even have to have a job to get unlimited private money. There's never any points or origination fees. There's no appraisals required. You get multiple checks on every deal that you do. You collect multiple checks. You get a big check when you buy. If you happen to sell on rent to own, you get a large non-refundable option fee. And then you get another big check when you sell and cash out. And in this world of private money, you get to make the rules. Now, in my money guide, I'll go into detail as to what I offer to my private lenders. You can download it and see what the program is. What's the interest rate that I offer? How are they protected? How can they get their money back in less than 90 days if they have an emergency, and etc. But you'll want to know your private lender program, of course, in order to offer that. Again, there's no limit to the number of private lenders you can have. The reason is we're not governed by the Commissioner of Banks. We can borrow across state lines. We can do as many private lender loans as we want to, borrow as many, and have as many private lenders as we want. And you're not limited to borrowing from accredited investors when you do the business the way that I do it. In addition to that, I love private money because I can close deals faster and negotiate more profitable deals. On all of my offers, in my offer, I state that I can close a deal within 7 days. Well, the only way I can close a deal within 7 days is if I've got the relationships in place with the private money lenders, and then you can close them fast. And as a result of that, I get more deals and more offers accepted. I'm able to do an unlimited number of deals with multiple private lenders. There's no personal guarantees. There's a big one. When I was borrowing money from the banks, I had to personally guarantee every deal that I did, right? But not in this world. Every deal stands on its own, and I don't have to sign any personal guarantees on the notes that I do. We structure a lot of our deals as well without any monthly payments. We let the interest accrue and then pay off the private lender loan when we cash out the deal after the rehab. But actually, we let our private lenders make their own decision, because every private lender has got different objectives. Some private lenders actually need the monthly payment. They're actually looking to live off of that investment. And so with that case, we'll actually make monthly payments to those private lenders that require it.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Larry Gill put a question in the chat. He said, Jay, in the current market, what rates are you offering your private lenders?
Yeah, right now we're paying 8%, and we either let it accrue, or if the private lender needs monthly payments, we'll make them monthly payments, but we make interest-only payments on 8%. That's a win for the lender, and it's a win for the borrower. When you're making interest-only payments, it's a win for the lender because the lender actually makes more money. Because if you're making principal and interest payments, You're paying down part of the principal with each payment. Therefore, not all of the private lender's money is staying at work. It's a win for us as the borrower because interest-only payments are smaller than principal and interest, and therefore it helps our cash flow. So it's a win-win for both sides. Did you have any others, Zach?
No, sir. That was it. Well, we got one more actually. Someone in chat said a lot of these lenders act like hard money lenders. In my experiences, they work off strict formulas and hope that they can get the properties in foreclosure for 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, that's why it's important to teach your own warm market what private money is, what your private money program is, to those people that have never heard of private money, right? Then they're going to be doing business the way you want to do it and following your program. When you're doing business with an existing private lender, you're playing by their rules, which that's fine. Their rules are fine if it's a win-win for everybody. But when you put on your teacher hat and you start teaching your own warm market, then now you're teaching them your program.
Awesome. And then one more saying, how does this apply to raw land deals?
Raw land is hard to use, or private money is hard to use on raw land. You're probably on raw land going to need to probably go over to an institutional lender. The raw land, it depends on the kind of raw land you're doing. Like, you can buy lots of raw land with seller financing and you don't even need private money. But in order to give a private lender security and a collateral with the value of raw land, that's going to be a challenge. So I would say when it comes to raw land, unless it's a big development, just use seller financing.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jay. And then we got one more. If you give 8%, so is that for annual or for 6 months?
Annual. That's APR. And I only pay the interest on the length of time that I'm using the money. So if I use the money for 6 months, then they're getting, so let's say I borrow $200,000. Well, if I kept it for a full year, then 200,000 at 8%, that would be $16,000. But if I'm only using it for 6 months, then I'll only be paying $8,000. So it's only for the time I'm using it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay.
You betcha. And the term, typically our term is 2 years, 2 years for the note, but sometimes we go 5 years, particularly when we're borrowing from self-directed IRAs from Quest. So why would a private lender be interested in doing business with us? Well, the list is long, but here's 4 big reasons. First of all, their loan to us is secure and safe. And here's how. I'm not borrowing unsecured funds, okay? They're just not getting a certificate. They're actually getting a promissory note, a deed of trust or mortgage to collateralize the note. They're getting named as the mortgagee on the insurance policy. So it's secured, it's a secured note, and it's safe. I'm typically not going to be borrowing more than 75% of the after repaired value. So that's going to give the lender a nice equity cushion. Also, they're going to make a lot of money. So you may find it interesting. Just last week in USA Today newspaper, the average 12-month of certificate of deposit yield was only paying 0.17%, 0.17% in the local bank for 1 year's certificate of deposit. Well, you come along and pay, 8%. Well, that's a whole lot more money. If they were getting 0.25% in the local bank, that's 32 times more than they can make, in the local bank. So they make a lot of money. Interest-only payments makes them more money, as I just mentioned. They're interested because the interest-only payments makes them more money. And we have a way for them to get their money back in case of an emergency. And that's called the 90-day call notice. And we go over that here in the money guide that you can download at jconner.com/money guide. Now, when to use private money? Well, you're going to use private money when all cash is required by the seller. And we know that's going to be the majority of cases. So buying bank-owned properties, short sales, auctions, for sale by owners. Of course, as I said, 87% are not going to sell to us creatively. So you're going to use the private money for all those FSBO deals. Now, what do I want you to focus on first in the real estate investing business? I want you to focus on getting the money lined up first. Just simply getting a verbal pledge or verbal pledges from people that have private money or retirement accounts. Once you've got that pledged, then you're going to be confidently making more and more offers. So focus on getting the private money lined up first. So where can you get the money? Well, I mentioned there's 3 markets. I'm going to talk about 2 briefly right now. One is your own warm market. There's 5 steps. And then existing private lenders. There's 5 steps in that market as well. So here's the 5 steps that I have used over the years since 2009 to raise millions and millions in private money without ever asking for money. Number 1, identify my potential private lenders. Make my list from my own contacts. The money guide will actually walk you through how to do that. Number 2, you're going to have a simple opening conversation, a casual conversation with these private lenders that can take place over the phone or in person. Then I've got a 16-minute audio that I actually emailed out to people that introduces this world of private money. The money guide will tap you into that. Then that leads to a one-on-one appointment. That's where I actually spill the beans. I can do it in person. I use my PowerPoint presentation. You can do it on Zoom, and you actually teach your private lending program. I say just duplicate mine and teach your private lending program, how much they're paid, how they're protected, and then you get a verbal pledge. And I'll tell you, after you explain to the people in your warm market how your private lending program works, they're going to be chasing you, and you're not going to be asking anybody for money. So let's take just a moment and talk about each one of these steps briefly. Step number 1, make your list. I'll tell you, you know more people than you think you do. You got millions of dollars potentially in private money waiting just in your contact list. And my complete system on how I do private money actually goes into depth on all the markets. And again, the money guide, jconnor.com/money guide, will get you on the fast track to all that. Step number 2, after you made your list, is you have a simple opening casual conversation. This conversation, the scripting of that is all covered in the guide, but that simple conversation is a pre-qualifier conversation. We use the conversation to determine if your potential private lender has investment capital or retirement funds that's not giving them a high rate of return safely and securely. And once you determine that they do have funds available, then that simply goes to step number 3. Now, I do mention the magic question here, and I'll share the magic question with you. And the magic question is this. You want it to be able to just roll off your tongue without even having to think about it. And the question is, do you have investment capital or retirement funds not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely? That's the magic question. It rolls right off your tongue when you're talking to a potential private lender. That's step number 2. Now, when they say yes, they do have funds or retirement funds that's not giving them a high rate of return safely and securely, that's when we send them the audio. Now, this audio titled Stress-Free Investing, I have actually personalized this audio for over 1,000 of my students across the nation since I've been teaching in 2011. The purpose of this audio is to arouse curiosity with your potential private lender. It's also to introduce them to what this world of private money is all about. And it doesn't go into the details of how your private lending program works. It simply introduces the idea. So you let the audio do the work, and then it gets them coming right back to you. Again, when you get the money guide, you're going to get introduced to how that audio works and how you can get plugged into that. Step number 4 is the one-on-one appointment. Again, that's over the phone or in person. And that's where you actually explain in detail the private lending program and how it works. You get the guide, you're going to be able to see exactly what my program is in detail that I offer to the private lenders, and you can duplicate it for your own purposes. How to get the word out? Well, one-on-one appointments, groups, private lender luncheons, webinars, Zooms. My lands, don't you wish you had invested in Zoom stock 2 years ago? Who knew what was going to happen with the pandemic and all that? So there's many ways to get the word out and to start spreading your private lending program to other people to where the money will start chasing you. And then step number 5 is a verbal pledge. You explain the private lending program, either in a group or one-on-one. They tell you how much they've got to work with. And I will tell you, they always have more to work with than they tell you, right? So they simply give you a verbal pledge, and then you go locate a deal just as soon as possible in order to start deploying their funds, because your private lender is not going to start making any money on their money in funding your deals until you actually have a deal for them to fund. Now that was for your own warm market. Now, when you're dealing with existing private lenders, you can use my private lender data feed to locate existing private lenders every month. And in the data feed, we have the fellow investor letter, we have the hot buyers list letter that we mail out to these potential private lenders to establish a relationship. They didn't respond to the letters. We have a one-on-one appointment. You'll have a one-on-one appointment either by Zoom. You can search your local neighborhood. You can search by zip code, 25 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles out from your zip code, and locate all the existing private lenders right there in your market. Follow up with your contact, get to know each other either one-on-one or by Zoom, and start doing deals together. Now, first things first, what do you need to do first in order to get started? Well, first of all is the positioning and owning the real estate that is between your ears. There's no selling, no begging, no chasing. You're now going to put on your teacher hat and you're going to teach private lending. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to download my money guide for free at jayconner.com, JAYCONNER.com/money guide. Learn about what private lending is all about, put on your teacher hat, and start teaching. First things first, you need to establish a relationship with a Quest representative. Because here's the deal. Over half of mine and Carol Joy's private lenders are using their retirement funds to fund our deals. Well, guess what? None of them had ever heard of private money. None of them had ever heard about self-directed IRAs until we taught them about it, right? So when you teach somebody about how private money works, you need to be, and you find out that they've got retirement funds, a pension, 401k, any kind of retirement fund that might be in the stock market. Well, you need to have your relationship with the Quest rep in order to introduce your new potential private lender to them so they can get their funds transferred over to Quest. Again, first things first, know who you're going to be wanting to introduce your new private lenders to that have retirement funds to a Quest rep. And you got to know your program. You got to know your private lending program. Well, my money guide is going to get you started on that, learning the private lending program to teach to private lenders. Never talk about your private lending program and a deal in the initial conversation because you now already sound desperate, right? You only want to teach your program. They are interested. Yes, they want to be a private lender. Now you bring the deal back to them. And you know what? I never pitch a deal. I never try to sell a deal. I never call up my private lender and say, hey, I've got this deal. Do you want to do it? That's the most stupid question I could ever ask them. Of course they want to do the deal. They already know the program, and I'm not going to be bringing a deal for them to fund unless it fits the criteria of the private lending program that I've already taught them. I call them up. I tell them I got great news. I can now put your funds to work. I've got a deal. I got a house over in Newport with an after repaired value of $200,000. the funding required is $150,000, and you need to have your funds wired from your Quest account to my real estate attorney by next Thursday, because that's when we're closing. That's the end of the conversation. There's no asking of, do you want to fund this deal? Well, of course they want to fund the deal. They've been waiting for you to give them this good news call because you've already taught them the program. They're ready to go. They've been waiting for you to make the call for them to fund your deal. Closing. Well, your real estate agent or your title company, whoever your closing agent is, will handle the closing. They'll prepare all the paperwork. I cover all the closing costs of the attorney, and there's no fees, there's no commissions, there's nothing that comes out of the private lender's funds. In fact, I tell them nothing's going to be coming out of your principal investment amount. You're going to get all of it back when we cash out, along with any unpaid accrued interest. Disbursement of funds. Your private lender, are they going to wire funds from their checking account, or if they're using Quest account funds, they're going to have Quest wire the funds directly to your closing agent's trust account, and no funds are dispersed prior to the mortgage or deed of trust being recorded on public record by your attorney, which is going to be protecting your private lender. Insurance and title. Your private lender is going to be added to the insurance policy as the mortgagee. So in case there's any kind of claims, your private lender is protected. And your private lender will also be added to the title policy as an additional insured in case there's any title issues down the road. The private lender documents. Well, each private lender for every deal will receive these documents for every deal that they do. So if I'm getting an appraisal done or a CMA, they're welcome to have a copy of that. They seldom ever ask for it, but I've got it on file in case they want it. They're going to get the original promissory note. They're going to get the original deed of trust or mortgage that's been put on public record. They're going to get the insurance policy showing them as the mortgagee, and also a copy of the title policy as well. So again, the free money download, here's the recap of everything you get in this free document. Be sure and go there right now, or right after we finish this presentation. It's free. Download it at jconnor.com/money guide, and it will get you started fast track in this world of private money and doing all the real estate deals that you want to do. Zach, back to you and any questions that we got.
Yes, thank you so much, Jay. So first off, thank you for the content. One more time, is there a way for people to get in contact with you directly?
Sure. So other than this URL, they can just go to jconnor.com, or Zach, believe it or not, we actually answer the telephone. Can you believe that?
It's hard to believe nowadays.
We actually answer the phone. So we're in the office Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Fridays from 9 until 12 noon Eastern. And if you want to type that number in the chat, Zach, it's 252-808-2927. That's 252-808-2927.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay. So I'm going to run through the questions real quick and see. Let's see real quick. So someone asked, can private lending be used for mobile home deals? And have you or your students done these types of transactions?
Absolutely. So private money, we typically use on mobile home deals when land is attached to the deed, or the double wide or the manufactured home is part of that deed. So yes, I use private money on mobile home deals all the time.
Awesome. Awesome. So another one, are there any licensing or SEC requirements?
That's a great question. The answer is no. Do the private money deal and world the way I do it, and you do not have to be licensed. Now, if you're raising money for a fund or a syndication, then you don't have to be licensed, but you have to get the documents drawn up by an SEC registered licensee. But doing these one-off deals where you're just funding deals, private lenders directly to deals, then the SEC license is not required.
All right, good deal. Another question from John Nickel. Are you creating your deal on the ARV or the purchase and rehab amount?
So the after repaired value. So I'm creating the deal on the after repaired value. So when we borrow not more than 75%, that's not more than 75% of the after repaired value. If I was only borrowing 75% of purchase, then obviously we wouldn't be able to bring home a big check when we buy for the rehab.
All right, good deal. So another one from Ben Scott. Can private money be used for an IRA purchased property where the loan needs to be non-recourse?
Ask that a different way, Zach. I'm not sure I follow the question.
So I can go ahead and take this one. Yes, that's absolutely, it can be used. It's, private money all the time. It's just a matter of when the IRA is going to be taking that loan, like you said, it just needs to be a non-recourse loan, right? And all that is a loan containing language, making sure that the lender cannot go after anything other than just the collateral directly tied to that loan, right? So absolutely, you can use private money for an IRA purchase property. All right, next question from Don. How do you get potential lenders to trust you?
That's a great question. First of all, nobody's going to trust me unless I trust myself first. I got to have confidence that I know what I'm doing. I have to have confidence that the deals that I'm doing are the correct deals that I should be doing. So that's a great question because you've got to come across confidently in order for people to trust you. Another reason people trust me in doing the deals is because, and what I'm getting ready to say right now is a writer downer. If you don't pay the lender, the property does. If you do not pay your lender, the property does. That's why on all of these deals, none of them are unsecured. They're getting the collateral of the property. And if you don't pay them, they're going to get the property. And of course, the lender doesn't want to mess with the property. But if they get the property and they finish the deal out, they're actually going to make more money than the interest they'd be paying you, or the interest you would be paying them, rather.
Awesome. So another question. Have you ever put together deals with a pool of private money investors, like with 25,000 each?
So there's more than one way to answer that question. So I've never done a pool. I've never raised money for a fund because I haven't been doing those size of projects, right? But I can have more, and I do it all the time. I can have more than one private lender being secured by the same property. However, I'll use a larger amount of money in first position from a private lender to buy the property, and then smaller amounts of money, such as 25,000, 30,000 in a junior position for rehabbing. But here's the catch. Number one, I've got to disclose to the private lender what position they are in on doing that deal. Some private lenders will not loan in a junior position. I got a lot of private lenders that will, but I have to disclose to them what position they're in. And then what comes into play is this thing called total loan to value. And what do we mean by that? Well, let's go back to our same example. If I have an after repaired value of $200,000 on a house, I'm not going to borrow more than $150,000. That's 75% of the after repaired value. However, I could have, for example, a private lender in first position that funded the purchase of $100,000. I could have a private lender in second position at $50,000 in a junior position. So the total loan to value would be $150,000. Add the $100,000 note to the $50,000 note. That's $150,000. That's my total loan to value of the $200,000.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's always crucial to make sure every lender knows what their lien position is. And just to kind of add on to that, if you are looking to start lending out funds or borrowing, IRAs can partner with each other to make sure you hit that target mark, right? Let's say you don't have enough in your IRA, just solo. You can partner with even your family's IRA, a collection of IRAs, all to go in on a single note. All right. So that's absolutely something you can do. All right. Next question. What happens to both lenders and investors if the housing bubble bursts?
Well, that's a good question. So that's why we don't borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. So if you're doing a flip on a property in today's market, there's no inventory. You put it in the multiple listing service and that house is gone. Carol Joy and I just put a house in the multiple listing service Thursday afternoon, day before yesterday. And by yesterday at noon, we had 2 above asking price, all cash offers. It was listed for $319,000. We had an all cash offer, no appraisal for $325,000, and another one right behind it at $330,000. So I'm only keeping that property from start to finish, maybe 6 months. There's not going to be a 25% reduction in value in 6 months. That's why we don't borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. That protects everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Jay. Okay, we're going to do 1 or 2 more. It says, as a real estate broker, is there any disclosures that need to be prepared for the lender?
I don't know any for the lender. I know, and I'm not a real estate broker on purpose. My real estate agent and realtor is very, very important to our business. We've been using the same one since 2004. I do know when you're marketing for off-market houses or marketing for any houses, you have to disclose that you're a real estate broker or agent, but I'm not aware of any disclosure regarding that in this world of private money. I don't think your private lender cares either way, whether you are a licensed broker or not.
Perfect. All right, last one. What kind of metrics do you look at for investing? Are comparable values?
What's another way to ask that question, Zach? How do I come up with the after repaired value?
No, I guess when she's looking at, what is it? What part of the deal is it that attracts you to it, right? When you're looking for an opportunity to, let's say do a fix and flip, what are the metrics that you're looking at?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't buy any properties in war zones. I want it to be in nice neighborhoods. And my only other criteria is, can I make a profit of at least $50,000 on the flip, or I'm not interested. I've got one problem today, Zach. I got more money than I can put to work. So
that's a good problem to have, right?
And so since I've got that problem, I want to deploy as much of it as I can. But anymore, when it comes to, overseeing deals, and I've got a fantastic team, but when it comes to overseeing deals, I really don't want to invest money unless I'm going to see in 6 months or less at least 50,000. Our average profit per deal now is 77,000. What's some other metrics? I don't want to buy any functionally obsolete houses. In other words, I don't want funky layouts. I don't want to have to go through a bedroom to get to the only bathroom in the house. I don't want to buy a house in our area for less than 1,000 square feet, typically. Now, if you're in California, you're going to be doing a lot of those, right? But at least in my area, I really don't like 2-bed, 1-bath houses. I want them to be at least 3-bed, 2-bath. I've done a lot of houses that are 3-bed, 1.5, but my preference is 3-bed or more and at least 2 bedrooms.
Exactly.
So typically my square footage, I want it to have at least 1,250, 1,400 square feet or more.
Awesome. So essentially, when you're looking at a house, you don't have to knock down any walls, right? You want that layout to be already functional.
Correct.
And what markets across the country do you usually invest in?
Personally, myself, Eastern North Carolina. I joint venture with my students all across the nation. But for me and Carol Joy, our own personal business, we're just right here in Eastern North Carolina in our little teeny tiny market.
Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you so much, Jay. We had a great turnout. I think we peaked out about 123 people.
My lands, that's a lot of people on a Saturday afternoon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. So that's going to be it, guys. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to Jay. Jay, if you want to mention one more time how they can reach out to you.
Sure. And by the way, Zach, these have been fantastic questions that the attendees have put in. And absolutely. I thank each of y'all for engaging and asking. So yes, in case you just joined and got on board here, I've got a absolute free money guide that will get you started on the fast track in this world of private money, using private money for single family houses, for commercial deals. And I just finished writing this money guide. It's called 7 Reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate business and help you build incredible wealth. Download it absolutely free right there at jayconner.com, JAYCONNER.com/money guide, and it'll get you on the fast track. And as I said, we actually answer the phone. You can give us a call at our offices Monday through Friday at 252-808-2927, 252-808-2927. Every one of your all success is very, very important to me and my team, and we stand ready right here to serve you any way that we can. Zach, thank you so much for you and the Quest staff and team for hosting this event and for inviting me to come along and participate.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure. And guys, if you have any questions regarding specifically, your self-directed IRA or how you can start to use your retirement funds to make deals like this, give us a call. If you want to shoot me an email, my email is zachary.wilson@questtrust.com, or give us a call, ask for an IRA specialist. We'll be happy to help. All right. And that's it. Thank you so much again, Jay.
And Zach, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. I enjoyed being here with you.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one now.
All right, see you.
Bye.